All right, guys, you see it's 11:11. I literally just came to pick my phone up and saw 11:11 again, um, as well as I see 222 quite a bit, and sometimes 444, but once in a while 555. But those are the main numbers for the past couple weeks that I've been seeing repetitively or repeatedly. But I just wanted to make a quick, faster version of the other video I made talking about like how Miss D Virgo Tarot reminded me what just a simple thing she said about they study you and they study you more than you know you, and that phrase that she said right there made it dawn on me how that's what I was trying to say. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, I saw something. But anyways, all I'm just trying to say, and then the helicopter is there again. But all I was basically trying to say is that when I was avoiding several different attempts of being kidnapped with my baby son, with my son out in the public when I was homeless because I fled from home, and I was in between living situation. Like I had a hotel for like a night or two, but I was without one. So for a couple nights I was walking on the street with no sleep for 2 days, and I was like, even though I was kind of crazy at that time because I was getting groggy after the first 24 hours being awake out in the cold, and then the situation on top of that fact, I was you would think, I wouldn't be able to think straight to get away from these people, but by the grace of God, I got away. And I'm basically just trying to warn people out there that when people come to kidnap you, they've been watching you for some time, and sometimes they're not as dumb as you might think. Like as far as like, yeah, they be dumb sometimes because they come for the wrong people. There's some things that they don't be expecting you to be, like maybe determined enough to escape them and wise enough or observant or discerning enough to get away from them. But a lot of the times there's people out here, they're really inclined in their spirituality, and the magic that they abuse is almost like math, like math magic that they do to like do, it's almost like coordinates, longitude, latitude of your life, where you're going to be at, and they know these things before you even know it. They study you, they know what you like, they know the type of person you might like for the most part, or the type of people you might be attracted to. Sometimes they just send anybody in, but sometimes they plan your death or your demise, I should say, like months in advance, if not years in advance, and know like who to send at you, so that you, because they know who you're gonna wind up being with. So if you don't, they anybody who wants to try to stop you, not anybody, but people who are being gang stalked because you're a chosen one, and maybe you haven't thought about this. I'm just basically trying to put it out there so you can like ponder upon upon the thought about like how these people out here, and I'm calling them people, but some of them probably entities occupying the vessel. But in any case, I'm just basically trying to say they don't. It's not a surprise sometimes when some people in your life go missing. It's not just by happenstance. Sometimes they try to make people go missing for it to affect you. That's how evil they are. They want to take someone that you love or that's close to you from you so that it can like change the way you think, because they know like maybe without that person in your life, they're hoping that you're gonna go into a depression or whatever, so that you will make some of the choices that they orchestrate for you to make. Like send somebody your way hoping that while you're in that depressed state, you're going to go with that individual, and that individual is supposed to lead you to your demise in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it be them putting something in your drink or in your food, or leading you to go hang out with some friends that already have it planned to unalive you in some kind of way. It'd be stuff like that. For instance, when I was trying to, the part I was trying to talk about on the previous video was I went to go ask this couple, this Caucasian couple, if they could please walk with me so that the man that was following behind me on the street could leave me alone. But all along they were all working together. That's why they happened to walk up that hill at that exact moment. I was coming towards a Lowe's department store, and they were walking up, but the one guy had a gray shirt with red and blue on it, and the lady was wearing a red shirt, and they was living across the street, right down the hall, like not down the hall, down the street from a 7-Eleven that was stationed on that corner. And the man saw me trying to talk to them, so he finally just drove off and went on down the street. But little did he know, I already caught on to the fact the woman said something that let me know she knows about the trafficking going on. That's why I know that they no longer stay in that apartment. They've moved by now, because they probably figured it out that I was going to remember this stuff based on things that I was starting to remember last year, and they tried to backtrack and do damage control. So if I go back and tell people what's going on, because they were watching me, they still are watching me, they can go and do damage control and try to get rid of some of the evidence of some of the things that they see that I remember. So when I tell people about it, it'll make me look like I'm a liar. But what they don't know is I still have evidence and I still have memories, and I remember the timing, and I know things that happen, and there should be evidence somewhere that shows that this place existed in the county records, like a deed or something for a building that was torn down. And I also, there should be an ad somewhere for that house that's on Lombard Street in Beaverton that they tore down, where I had a dream that they had a man that was passed away floating in the tub by the window, because that big window was actually the bathroom of that house. When I left the hotel that we were kicked out of, not we ourselves, but they kicked us out of that hotel because I was having too much fun and I was getting in shape working out in there, and it was too comfortable. So they told the people at the Family Promise people that they raised the rates so that we were forced to move out of that hotel, and the company moved us to a more janky ghetto Indian place that was a Pepper Tree Inn in Beaverton, and they were harassing us over there up a storm, me and my baby son. And there's other stuff that's to the story, but I'm mainly trying to talk about how it was orchestrated for me to be kidnapped, but because I was watchful and I had discernment, and I guess lucky, or I was attentive, observant, used discernment, and just was aware of what was going on. That's why it was harder for them to just get me. Had I been like super codependent and like I was trying to ask people for help, but I noticed how it seemed like everybody was turning away in Hillsboro, Oregon. They was turning a blind eye. I remember a man specifically. I'm gonna get your ass spiritually, buddy. I remember this man with longer hair in a truck. He was looking like, what the hell are you talking about? And then he just drove off. That man, he gonna be suffering some. I don't know if he gonna remember what it's for, but I remember his face very clearly. Almost like a knockoff Steven Seagal looking dude. But it's like a spell was placed over the city where people would not help and make them think, this got to be some movie shit. This lady just trying to get in my car so she can rob me type shit. And I understood that. So that's why I didn't take too much of an offense to it when I was asking for help for certain people, if they could help us to get off of that road. Because I was a woman walking with a child in a stroller, and maybe they thought I was on setup vibe type stuff, and they couldn't clearly see because they were under a spell. So, and I know that sounds so far-fetched, but baby, when you go back and look over some of these cold cases and see how people turned up missing, it's not like what you think. It's people out here that's orchestrating somebody's demise right now so they can take them out 2-3 years from now. When they think they got them, they patient enough to wait and watch and wait until the perfect time when everything lines up how they expect for it to go, and they follow the magic that they've done. Like with the going through people's Akashic records, they know your name, all of that information. And it's something that happens. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it right now, but just know that when people come in to traffic you, so this is the key part right here that I was forgetting to say in the last video, is that once I asked that couple that I met at Lowe's for their help, they thought I didn't pay attention because I saw a truck that was all of a sudden getting ready, and then a man walked out the bushes at night all of a sudden when I was walking back to escape and leave from that area. They was getting prepared to take us somewhere, but because I was reading the body language of the couple all of a sudden decided to go back out to the same 7-Eleven store that they already went to that they could have went to when we walked past it. But they went into their apartment, and then they decided to go back out to go to the 7-Eleven store. But I already picked up on it intuitively, I should say, that they were going to go alert somebody and tell them, we have them, they're going to be sleeping off in a corner. And how I know is because they were trying to be too helpful and say, you can sleep in that back corner over there. And it was dark. I was like, wait a second, why would they want us to sleep in a shady, dark area where no one's going to know where we're at but them? And then they leave and go out all of a sudden and said they just went to get some alcohol. But then I noticed a difference and a change on the street at night, where there was these men that were starting to do some things that caught my attention. And I said, no, she wouldn't let somebody know what's up. So then I took my son. I said, we just gonna ease on out of here. And I walked down the street, and then that man pops out the bushes. He tried to scare me, but because I wasn't afraid, he couldn't do what he was trying to do. He was trying to scare me so he could be like, I got you, or whatever, and then grab me. But because I was already prepared, knowing that something, they was going to try to do something, I was being bold and walking by waiting to see what their reaction was going to be, because there was some men all of a sudden preparing their 18-wheeler truck, looking, they had opened a large compartment on the side, and they was trying to do work on it or do something on it at dark, way at late at night, with no large lights on it or anything. I don't know what they were rearranging. And I said I could have been crazy, but I wasn't taking any chances because of the activity that I saw them doing. And I noticed that those cars was coming back around that area again after they had left. So I was like, nah, even if I am crazy. And then I was walking from street to street, from street corner to street corner, to see which way was safe, because I didn't want to get back on the freeway at night because it was dark and it was a long stretch before I could make it to another part of the city. So I was kind of stuck in that area. So the only last resort I had was to walk on the freeway on the opposite side of the road, where I could see the cars coming towards me with my son. Not once did a police officer pull over to stop us. And I said, if a cop stops us, then I was going to tell them what was going on. But I was able to walk. That's how I know it was completely orchestrated. The whole city, or the people that was involved that might have gotten a call that night, they had to have known that something like that was supposed to go down, and didn't do anything about it, because not once did an officer pass by to ask us if we were okay, if everything was cool. I feel like now, as I'm saying the story, the officers may have been paid off to not be in that area for the night, because somebody was going to do something. And I'm hearing a car pick up and race outside right now, like taking off, like they pissed or something. So I'm like, I'm taking it as a sign. Maybe that could be some correct information. I don't know. But I just wanted to warn people out there that this stuff is not orchestrated. I mean, that this stuff is not a coincidence. It's orchestrated. And it's not by happenstance that it just happens. All of a sudden, somebody decide they want to just come and try to kidnap you tonight. Sometimes it's a ritual behind them trying to do it. And they want to take you out sometime for a deeper reason than just to get your organs, or just to sex traffic you. They want to harvest and leech off of your energy, off of your soul energy.